Welcome to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Cailin, and today I'm going to be covering your May 2022 horoscope for the sign of Scorpio. And you can watch this if you are a Scorpio sun, moon, or rising. If you are a Scorpio rising or ascendant, this horoscope will be the most accurate for you overall. If you are a Scorpio sun or moon, you can definitely still watch this horoscope. Scorpio suns will find that this will resonate for them more with regard to their life goals, their career, and their vocation, whereas Scorpio moon people will find that this horoscope will be more about their relationships and also property living circumstances, as well as emotional health and well-being. So, May is a pretty jam-packed month across the board, astrologically speaking, but because we have eclipses in your 7th house and in your 1st house, the focus is really on you guys. So let's start off with the new moon in Taurus, which is taking place on the 1st of May, or if you are in the Northern Hemisphere, this will probably be taking place on the 30th of April for you. So this will occur in your 7th house and it will be at 10 degrees in the sign of Taurus. And there are some intense astrological aspects that are being made by this eclipse. And that would be the conjunction to Uranus in Taurus at 14 degrees. So this can bring about some sort of unpredictable element to the eclipse. Having said that, eclipses usually bring about some kind of unpredictable event anyway, but also with Uranus being conjunct the eclipse, it's kind of like an added element of unpredictability. So even as astrologers, it would be very difficult to tell you exactly how this is going to play out. Nevertheless, because it's in your 7th house, this indicates that a new relationship is afoot. So this could be a new romantic relationship, a new business partnership or business relationship, or even a new friend. Now, this new moon eclipse will actually be making a sextile back to Mars, which is your ruling planet, which will be at 11 degrees in the sign of Pisces. Now, we're also going to have Neptune in Pisces at 24 degrees, and Venus, which is the ruler of the eclipse and the ruler of your 7th house, will be at 27 degrees Pisces, and it will be in an almost exact conjunction to Jupiter. So Venus and Jupiter will be just 1 minute apart. I'm mentioning all of this because despite the conjunction to Uranus, it appears that this new moon eclipse is going to bring about something very positive into your life via another person or a relationship or some sort of alliance that you are forming. So with Mars being your ruling planet and also ruling over your 6th house, which is connected to work, this is where a new business partnership can come through, or you may have some new clients. So maybe you're closing an important deal. You could actually be hiring a new employee, and this person could be very talented or very gifted, or bring forth some sort of blessing or abundance into your work or into your business or your company. So this is a very exciting eclipse indeed. Now, with this Uranus conjunction, the way that I would read this is that maybe it is unexpected or it's coming through sooner than you would think. So let's just take the employee hypothetical example into consideration. Maybe you don't yet have the funds to hire this person, or maybe there's no vacancy in your workplace, but this person, although they are talented and they'd be a perfect fit, they're like, sorry, I actually need to know today. Otherwise, I'm going to have to take another offer. So there's a sense of urgency or something which is premature about this new partnership or relationship which is forming in your life. Now, on the romantic front, because all of these planets are in Pisces in your 5th house, this is where a new romance can start. And this could be with someone who your family would find to be quite shocking, or just the nature of the relationship, or how quickly it came about could be quite, again, shocking or unexpected when it comes to your family. And I'm saying that because Uranus rules over your fourth house, and the fourth house is connected to your home life and your family and property. So, on one hand, maybe this new partnership is surprising to them. On a different level, you may actually um, decide to move in with your significant other, and this could happen really, really quickly. And you could even have a flatmate move in, or you could move in with someone before you really know them. So the eclipse could bring about this sort of turn of events. Now, on a different level, the seventh house is very much connected to the law and engaging the services of attorneys and solicitors. So there may be a legal proceeding which you are looking to initiate. And I'm saying this because not only does the seventh house rule over lawyers, the fact that Venus is conjunct Jupiter, which is the planet of, which represents the law, I should say, this is another indicator, really, that there may be some sort of legal counsel that you were seeking, or legal proceeding which you were initiating, or which another person may be initiating. Now, it doesn't mean that you need to go to court. You could just be asking a lawyer or a solicitor about your financial situation, or about a work matter, or this could be about a child custody case, or even property matters. And I'm saying this because of all the planets in Pisces and which houses they rule over. So we've got Jupiter ruling over your second house, which is your finances and valuables and possessions. Jupiter rules over your fifth house, which represents owning your own business as well as children. So maybe you're engaging the services of someone who can give you legal advice about owning your own business. And with Mars being your ruling planet and also ruling over the sixth house, maybe there's some sort of unfair dismissal case which you want to look into, or perhaps you are getting advice on a work injury claim or matter. So another way that this new moon eclipse can play out is that, actually, I already mentioned this, but a new business partnership could be taking off. So, you could be drawing up contracts with another person. You could be looking at receiving contracts as a contract worker. So I'm saying this because we've got all these planets in your fifth house, which represents you being your own boss in this hypothetical situation. But then with Mars ruling over the sixth house, you could be hired for some contract work, and maybe this is just for a few weeks or for a few months. Now, as far as eclipse energy is concerned, around this time, which as I'm filming is on the 16th of April, or even earlier than this, your sleep patterns may have been disrupted. So you may be having difficulties falling asleep. You may be feeling fatigued, highly emotional, just not yourself. You may be feeling unmotivated as well. This is also thanks to the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction, but just generally speaking, eclipses usually see us feeling a bit off energetically, or a little bit drained, or not really feeling like ourselves. And because there will be a total lunar eclipse in Scorpio on the 16th of May, this is absolutely going to be impacting you. Now, the last thing I wanted to mention with the new moon eclipse is that for those of you who are in a committed long-term relationship, your significant other may have some kind of new chapter that is starting in their life, because the new moon eclipse in your seventh house represents their first house. So there could be some new changes which are coming through for them. Now, on the 10th of May, Mercury will station retrograde in the sign of Gemini in your 8th house at 4 degrees. So it will be there until around the 22nd or the 23rd of May, at which point it will retrograde back into Taurus in your 7th house. The entire retrograde period will span from the 10th of May until the 3rd or the 4th of June. So with Mercury being retrograde in your 8th house, this can see there being some fluctuations or changes to the pay of your significant other, for those of you in a relationship or who are married. So maybe they are receiving more money or less money, or maybe their pay cycle is changing. So just as an example, if they are normally paid every fortnight, maybe now they're going to be paid every month. And on a different level, your significant other's pay could be delayed. So if they're normally paid, on the first of every month, there may be some issues with their employer where all of a sudden they are seeing their own salary, their own monthly pay not coming through. Just another hypothetical example there. Now, the eighth house is connected to alimony, child support, inheritances, and your mutual resources of all kinds. So, whether or not you're in a relationship, it doesn't matter. This can still impact you on those levels. So if you are expecting an inheritance to come through, you may have to do a little more legwork to see that come through, or there may be some sort of disruption to that process. Just as an example, someone may be contesting that inheritance and now it gets tied up either in the court system or just with the legality of it all. Now, as far as alimony is concerned and child support is concerned, the amount that is paid or owed can change. And on a different level, this can see many of you returning to see a psychologist or a psychiatrist, or even anyone who is in the occult or esoteric industry. So maybe you're going back to your trusty astrologer or tarot reader. I would always recommend, with Mercury retrograde periods, that you do not engage the services of someone that you haven't seen before, or at the very least, if you've never met them before, if this appointment has been delayed again and again and again, that's okay. But, if you're just reaching out to, let's say, a new psychologist out of the blue, I just wouldn't do that. Bearing in mind, though, that this is a general reading and, it's not like we can't do whatever we want during Mercury retrograde periods, but that is just something that I would be taking into consideration. I'm just reading something in the chat about an eclipse sitting on this person's descendant, and that just reminded me that with regard to the new moon eclipse, if it is around 10 degrees in your chart, so if you're a Scorpio sun, moon, or rising, but especially rising sign, and your Scorpio degree is anywhere from about 6 or 7 degrees through till about 13 or 14 degrees, you will be feeling this really, really strongly. For you Scorpio moon people, I would extend that even further to say about 2 degrees Scorpio moon through till about 18 degrees Scorpio moons, you'll be feeling this very, very intensely. Now, just going back to the Mercury retrograde on the 10th of May in your 8th house, this can see you having a spiritual awakening or a spiritual breakthrough. This can see you finally letting go of some kind of addiction or some sort of traumatic event, so you can experience some kind of deep and profound healing with this Mercury retrograde being in your 8th house. Now, moving on to when Mercury retrogrades from Gemini in your 8th house back into the sign of Taurus in your 7th house, this is where miscommunications can arise with your personal one-on-one relationships, whether this is with your significant other, your spouse, a business partner, friends, people who advising you on a consultancy basis. So maybe you have engaged the services of a solicitor or someone to help you with your finances, like a tax accountant, for an example. And, there can be miscommunications there. This could be with regard to how much they are charging. This could be with regard to when your appointment actually is, or what services you have engaged them on. Now, on a different level, this could see you rethinking and reevaluating your personal relationships. Maybe you're wondering if you still want to be in business with another person, or if you're happy within your romantic relationship, or even if you want to cut this solicitor loose. On a different level, you can have a very important breakthrough in one or more of these relationships. So if you've been having disagreements with one another, just, on a loop, you can finally put some of these issues to bed. And this would come through actually seeing things from another person's perspective. I just want to reiterate that disagreements within friendships are highly likely. And I'm saying this because Mercury rules over your 11th house, which is your Virgo house. And the 11th house is connected to friends. And Mercury represents siblings, and the 11th house represents older siblings. So there can be some issues with an older sibling that are cropping up or that you are revisiting, or you can actually reconnect with an older sibling or with a friend that you've had a falling out with. So there is a chance to actually repair relationships with one or more of these individuals. And just by the way, even though the Mercury retrograde period officially starts on the 10th of May, the pre-shadow period, the pre-Mercury retrograde shadow period, actually commences about 2 weeks before. So this will be taking place from about, the 25th, the 26th of April. Now, just going back to the 10th of May, in addition to Mercury being retrograde in Gemini on that date, we're also going to see Jupiter enter the sign of Aries in your 6th house for the first time in about 12 years, which is pretty exciting. So Jupiter brings through blessings and abundance and prosperity, and whichever house it goes through, this is the house in which we are experiencing those blessings. Now, in terms of the time frame, Jupiter will be in Aries from the 10th of May until the end of October, at which point it will retrograde back into the sign of Pisces for a little bit. Then on the 20th of December, Jupiter will re-enter the sign of Aries, and it will be there until May 2023. I just want to add that in my previous videos, for some reason I was saying July 2023, but I am confirming that Jupiter will be in Aries until May 2023. So in terms of how long it takes for blessings and abundance to come through, although when we see Jupiter change signs, we're like, oh my God, yes, now this is going to happen like straight away. But actually, Jupiter is a planet of gaining experience and wisdom through experience. So it can really take the full 12-month block period of Jupiter going through a sign before it bestows this blessing on us. So just drilling down into the areas that this will cover for you. The 6th house represents your work, your daily duties and responsibilities, your habits, and it also represents your health. So with Jupiter transiting your 6th house, this can see you becoming an expert in your field, so your chosen field of work. You can be having a lot more confidence, while Jupiter transits your 6th house. So maybe you're more confident in the workplace, maybe you're more confident in your skills. And this can see you also learning new things on the job. And also, this could see you having a new boss enter the workplace. And this person could be like a father figure to you, or someone who is very knowledgeable or very influential, or maybe at your workplace there is going to be a an education course that you need to do on the side. Maybe all of you need to, when I say all of you, I mean you and all your co-workers need to become educated in a certain way, or with regard to certain topics. With Jupiter ruling over your 2nd house and your 5th house, this could be connected to finances, valuables, possessions, food. This could be connected to the 5 senses or natural resources as well. With Jupiter ruling over your 5th house, you may need to educate yourself on owning your own business, matters pertaining to your children, anything to do with politics, performance, dance, something that's of a creative nature, or maybe even entertainment venues. Um, it doesn't necessarily need to be, but I would put it this way. Jupiter in your 6th house represents you leveling up in terms of your education. So maybe you're going to become a master or an expert in your chosen industry, or maybe by the end of this transit in May 2023, you will actually be able to teach on the subject, or maybe you will have pupils or students or do some sort of tutoring. So, yes, thank you. Cryptocurrencies and speculative investments as well, very much connected to the 5th house. So, just moving on, with Jupiter ruling over your 5th house and with the 6th house being connected to your daily responsibilities and duties, this can see you having more responsibilities when it comes to your child or your children, if you have children, or maybe you're helping your romantic partner out a lot. With Jupiter ruling over your 2nd house, you may have to pour a lot of money into your child's education or their health or just their life. Maybe you're just giving them a leg up financially, or your romantic partner. And certainly, this could be a period of time in which you're getting your own house in order, financially speaking. Now, this could see you meeting a romantic love interest at work, because the ruler of the 5th house is going into the 6th house. And just looking at health, okay, this can see you going on a health journey. So, Jupiter in your 6th house can bring blessings and miracles to your health, but not without hard work. So, Jupiter in your 6th house tells me that you're actually going to be consciously focusing your time on health matters. So maybe there's been something that you have been ignoring. This could be connected to diet or lifestyle choices, maybe, how much you're partying, or what kind of foods you're ingesting and what kind of things you're drinking. So, diet, just generally speaking, is indicated here. And just lastly, the 6th house is connected to loans. So you may be approved for a loan, or you may be paying off a loan or paying off a significant debt. This is a transit which can indicate going into debt, because Jupiter rules your 2nd house, which is finances. It rules your 5th house, which is speculative investments. Okay, so just be careful that you're not racking up an enormous debt during this period of time. On the whole, though, Jupiter does tend to bring blessings, but that's just something that I wanted to point out to you. Now, on the 16th of May, there will be a total lunar eclipse in Scorpio. So, this is in your 1st house. Whether you are a Scorpio rising, sun, or moon, doesn't matter. This will impact you. Those of you who will be impacted the most would be Scorpio risings and suns between 21 and 29 degrees. And then for moons, I will extend that further. I'll give it an 8-degree orb. So from about 17 degrees also to 29 degrees. Even if you're not falling within those degrees, it doesn't really matter. You will be feeling this, I'm sure, as water signs. You'll feel this quite early on in the piece. Maybe you're feeling emotional at this point in time, or a bit fatigued. Maybe you can also sense that there is some sort of profound change which is coming through with this lunar eclipse in your 1st house. Now, in terms of the transits that are supporting it, first of all, the total lunar eclipse will be making a pretty tight square to Saturn at 24 degrees in Aquarius in your 4th house. But this will be, I would say, overshadowed in a positive way by the trine that the total lunar eclipse will be making to Mars, which is your ruling planet, plus the ruler of the eclipse, and Neptune in the sign of Pisces in your 5th house. So, in a nutshell, Total lunar eclipses represent the ending of a chapter taking place somewhere in our lives because it is in your first house and because it is making a number of aspects to other planets. I'll go through a number of ways that this can work out for you. I just want to say though that lunar eclipses are full moon eclipses, which represent powerful endings. And because it's a total lunar eclipse rather than a partial lunar eclipse, I'm sure that this will be felt quite powerfully amongst all of you. And lastly, the sun will be in Taurus in your 7th house, while the moon is in Scorpio in your 1st house. So the 7th and 1st house axes are being activated here. And this means that the end of a romantic relationship could be taking place, or the end of a marriage. Now, because of the trine to Mars, which is your ruling planet, and Neptune in Pisces in your 5th house, this could be for a number of reasons. One is that you may have fallen in love with someone else. Two is that you may be ending this romantic relationship because you're making a sacrifice to benefit your children. A different way that this could play out is that maybe you're ending the relationship because you're choosing your own happiness over this relationship. Maybe this is just the right thing to do for you. Because of the trine to planets in your 5th house, which represents owning your own business, maybe your significant other or your spouse was unsupportive of the idea of you owning your own business or you working for yourself, or even, it could be something to do with a creative passion or hobby of yours and they're just not about it. And you're like, you know what? This is a part of me. And if you can't accept that, then I'm going to have to end this relationship. The square to Saturn in your 4th house indicates that there is resistance here, whether this is a person that you live with who doesn't want you to move out or they don't want to move out, or maybe your parents or a family member is very attached to your significant other and they're encouraging you, discouraging you from this course of action. Lastly, on the ending a romantic relationship front or a marriage, this could be related to property matters as well. So maybe, your partner is lazy or they don't get along with your family. That could be another understandable deal breaker. So this could also see there being the end of a partnership taking place or a friendship taking place. And this could be because of, anyway, I'm not going to go into the reasons. I'm going to go through some other ways that this can play out for you. When we have a total lunar eclipse in our 1st house, whether we're a Scorpio sun, moon, or rising, this can see you having a major epiphany about your emotional happiness and about family matters as well. So maybe you're realizing the ways in which your family have been upsetting you or holding you back, or maybe you are reflecting on traumatic experiences when you were growing up. Maybe you are putting some emotional issues to bed. So maybe you are resolving conflicts or issues with another person, whether this is a family member or your significant other or a friend. Essentially, total lunar eclipses represent letting something go. And the trine to Mars and Neptune is so, so positive for you guys, because this represents that regardless of any pushback or criticism or dissent that you receive from other people, no matter how hard it is for you to do it, it can be done. So with that being said, some of you may be achieving some kind of huge personal accomplishment. Maybe you're finishing writing a book. Maybe you're launching your own business. Maybe you have mastered some kind of creative skill. Maybe you finally discovered something that you're truly passionate about. And this can transform you on a very deep and even psychological level. This can bring about some kind of crisis. I'm not going to lie, with eclipses. It's kind of like whatever needs to be released can kind of like bubble up to the surface, and then there can be some kind of peak moment, whether this is a huge argument or just like some kind of wake up call, and then you're like, oh my God, I need to completely change my life. So, in any case, I just want to reiterate that I see this as being very healing and very positive overall. Don't be put off by me mentioning that there's pushback or a potential emotional crisis of sorts. We experience eclipses 4 times a year, so nothing to be afraid of. Now, on the 24th/25th of May, we're going to see Mars, which is your ruling planet, enter the sign of Aries. So it will be there for about 7 or 8 weeks. And with Mars being your ruling planet, wherever Mars goes, whatever Mars is doing, whatever aspects it makes, this represents you as it's your chart ruler, and it represents what you are doing. So with Mars in your 6th house, this is going to be all about work, health, resolving conflicts, and your daily habits and routines. So this can see you confronting some sort of work issue head on. Certainly, you may be confronting a bully or someone who is extremely dogmatic and unfair in the workplace. Now, this can see you powering through checklists and to-do lists, so you'll be incredibly productive and efficient during this period of time. I also just want to take a moment to say that from the 24th/25th of May till about the 28th of May, so let's just say 3 or 4 days. Sorry, no, I can't count. Yes, 3 or 4 days, we're going to have Mars, Venus, Jupiter, the moon, and Chiron all in the sign of Aries. So your 6th house will be just lit right up, super duper activated. And this can lead to conflictual situations with other people because Venus rules over your 7th house, which is Taurus. The moon is a very, very sensitive placement. So you're just going to want to be careful when it comes to being sensitive to other people's feelings. This really is a time period where people's emotions can be running high and feelings can get hurt, whether they are yours or another person's, although I would say it would be the other person because Mars is the planet that rules you. But if you're wanting to start some kind of new routine, start working out, maybe with a personal trainer, if you are wanting to make changes to how you are spending your time or spending your money or your diet, this would be a great time to do so. And essentially, this is an amazing period of time where you can get your health in order and where you can take care of all of these mundane tasks and duties that you've been putting off for a really long time. And so, Scorpio, that's all I have for you for May 2022. If you enjoyed this horoscope, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to book a personal one-on-one astrology or tarot reading with me, you can do so via the link in the description box below. Wishing you all the best for May, and I will see you guys next month in June.